listen.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Can't get enough baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, there's nobody I'd rather have on in the entire world than Daniel Bard, as I have proclaimed many times. But also, this time is the best retirement gift of all. It's the best I can do. It's better. It's better than, I don't know where you've registered for your retirement. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a thing. But this is the best I can do.
Well, I got to tell you that so this is my second time retiring, for those that have followed along for a long time. Back in 2017, did not get as much attention. I retired in August of 17. I was not in the major leagues, far from it. And you were the first person to notice that I retired, and it only took you 5 months. I think you called me in November or December, and you were like, we hadn't talked in years at that point, but picked up your call and you're like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm done playing. Okay. He's like, yeah, I saw you. You weren't on any rosters at the end of the year. And so we did a podcast. It was, I don't know, what was your podcast called back then? It was the Bradford Show.
Bradford Show. Yeah.
And so, this will be round 2 of me announcing my retirement on one of your podcasts.
I felt like that was such a good compliment all the way up until you said it took you 5 months.
You're still the first. You're still the first to notice.
Well, I appreciate all those kind words, and I appreciate you coming on. And I also appreciate MLB Trade Rumors for crediting me for announcing your retirement, which was a day after it was on.
Not accurate.
Yeah, not
well, I think I've used you for a few things to put out there, and they probably just didn't know who did it, so you get the automatic. You're like the default credit. Any news, any Daniel Bard news.
And I did feel like I was, so when I wanted to put out, and I know, but in case people don't know, that it actually came out, I think, on the minor league transaction wire. A few people picked it up. I think Patrick Lyons in Colorado did. And but then, and it's not official till MLB Trade Rumors does it. But anyway, I just wanted to, when it actually was official when you did it on social media. You didn't do it on social media. Did you do anything on social media back in 2017?
No, I was kind of trying to hide at that point. Well, I didn't at that point that, when I retired, I was not super proud of how things had gone. Looking back, I have different feelings about it, but at that time I was just like, please let me just disappear for a little while. So no, this was the first lengthy, social media
Very good
announcement.
social media post, by the way. Excellent job.
Yeah, my PR people did it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have PR people. I worked hard on it. I think for me, it's hard to cram a lot of thank yous and a million things going through your head into a couple paragraph caption. So I hope I did everyone justice. Probably forgot some things, but did what we could.
You definitely caught the spirit of the thing. And I also, when I was going to, I know that once you put it out there, I wanted to find I was looking through photos, and obviously you've been on the podcast a few times, so I have the one of the very strategic baseballs and boring microphone, a couple of them, but one of them you have you're in a robot arm. But I wanted to find a good photo, and really I was like, okay, well, the last one we took, or most recent one we took, was in Tacoma, where you're wearing a hat with a donkey on it, and it says Mariners. I'm like, this is I like this photo a lot, but we're gonna remember when you played for Tacoma.
Yeah, I don't think that one, for the general public's going to stick in their minds too well. But for me, it was an awesome I was with the Mariners for 6 weeks, and it was an awesome 6 weeks. They couldn't have treated me better, taken good care of me, in all aspects. And I just had a lot of fun playing the game for the last time. And appreciative to the organization, but mostly the teammates and the staff there. I was able to go out because 2023, my last year pitching before I got hurt, was just not a lot of fun. It was stressful. I was pitching with a hurt elbow, trying to live up to a contract, and I don't I don't envy anybody who's I know it's hard for the average person to look at somebody making millions of dollars who's struggling and feel bad for them. And I'm not saying you have to feel bad for them, but just my contract pales in comparison to some of those guys that are out there. Um, it's hard to feel like you're just letting down your teammates, letting down the organization that signed you, letting down fans that are paying to see you play. So 23 was tough for me, and then I wanted to go out on a note where I could say, "Hey, I'm going to go have fun on a baseball field again," whether that's in AAA and in indie ball. If I got back to the big leagues, it was going to be a bonus. It ended up being a little shorter than we thought, just because you know some family things we can get into here in a minute, but can't say enough about that month with the Rainiers in Tacoma.
All right. So before we get into like again the sort of what happened at the end and led to your decision, I hope you did see the responses, whether it was on your thing or whether, I know from the post that I put up, it was just this tidal wave of people, people you impacted, people you gave great memories to, and all that. And, it's like having a birthday on Facebook, right? It's like this is one of the good things about social media. But I hope you get a chance to see these. Like that was honestly like for me, if I did that, like that would be the best retirement gift of all because it really summarized how many people you've impacted.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take this chance to just thank everybody who reached out. I got a ton of, comments on the post and direct messages and text messages and some phone calls. I don't know, probably hundreds all in all. And like I said, there's I told Adair, I said, there's a lot of downsides to doing a job that's in the public eye. Every time you fail, it's printed, it's on TV or it's printed the next day. Your salary's out there for the world to know. Just things that most people's jobs are not, they're not public. This would be the one thing that's kind of the positive of that, and I'm very lucky that things, I feel like ended well and people were able to follow along and yeah, so many kind words from people I know, people I haven't talked to in 10, 15 years reaching out, and then just complete strangers that were fans or have followed along or said that, my journey inspired them in some way. So just really humbling to hear all that, and makes a hard decision, a big life decision, makes you be able to feel a little more comfortable with it.
Was there one that the obvious, this is a cliche question, but was there one that was like, wow, I haven't heard from that person in a while?
I don't know about person individually. I mean, there's a lot of old teammates that reached out. I think the coolest thing was a lot of the teammates I've had, um, even all the way up to my time with Tacoma, but going all the way back to some guys I played with in the minors, 8, 9 years ago when I was really struggling, and just kind of them reaching out and saying, "Hey, man, you're don't know how big of an inspiration it was. I'm so glad we got to be teammates." So that stuff's pretty cool, that you don't always get a chance to say bye to the guys when you leave a clubhouse or you leave a team, or the season comes to an end. Sometimes things kind of end abruptly, or you get released on a phone call at the hotel and you never see your teammates again. Like that's just how it goes. And it's just hard to keep up with hundreds and hundreds of teammates. But you remember those guys. It doesn't mean you don't have fond memories of them. And it's nice to know that they had the same. So yeah, I just that's one thing I think I put in the post is I'll miss the teammates, the clubhouse, the getting out there for early work, and I don't know. It's just it's the moments between the games, the travel, all that stuff that you do and you bond with those guys. Um, the baseball is will definitely be missed too, but um, it's those times just hanging out with the boys and going to battle every night that I'll miss the most.
Yeah, it's not only that too. Even in your time in Arizona, as there's some people who popped up and it's like, oh, he didn't play with him. Oh yeah, he helped him, in Arizona, in your time in Arizona as a coach, and so and I'm sure that people will from your time in Tacoma will be doing the same thing. I mean, that's one of the great things about it, and I'm gonna build you up, first of many times, but one of the great things is at that time, those young guys there will be like, oh yeah, I remember the impact that Daniel had in this month plus here. So anyway, along with the awesome weather and along with actually, and also you were good, man. Like you were good. It's like,
Thank you.
yeah, you're good.
It
No,
was, well, it
I was
was,
tracking. Listen, I was tracking it. It was like you were good.
yeah, the stuff was not quite what I, had in the past. It was more low 90s than upper 90s. But, you know, on some of the days the sinker was still sinking, and I kind of have that hard slider cutter that I could roll out of bed and throw for a strike. So I was kind of living off of that. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely some left in the tank. And that's what made the decision, I think, difficult, was knowing that I could still go do it.
Mm.
Um, I don't know how many people know I was on the IL with some elbow soreness. So it's still elbow post surgery. It's good. It wasn't great. And I think that was probably going to be my biggest hurdle if I kept pitching this year, was the recovery. I could feel really good on the mound, go out and throw 20 pitches hard as I want, no problem. But it was like the next day and the day after, it was still pretty sore. Almost, and that just makes it hard to be a member of a big league bullpen. I'm sure it would have gotten better, even a month or two more. That recovery would have gotten a little better, but it would have been an uphill battle for sure with the elbow. I think probably next spring is when it probably would have felt 100%. So
Mm.
don't tell my wife that. No, I think we're good. But yeah, I don't know. It was a culmination of a lot of things, but it was mainly the draw and the pull to be at home with my
Yeah, well,
kids.
let's go through that. And
Yeah.
you're going, and we had talked in Tacoma. I think you were just on the verge of pitching. You hadn't quite pitched yet, and you were optimistic, and like you said, you had some good results out of the gate. Uh, when did the idea of retiring come? And I know you had opt-outs too, which is another thing, right? So, but when did this gain steam, the idea of like, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore.
Uh, at about so I was home for All-Star break, which was Monday to Thursday last week. Had a flight booked for Friday morning to get back to Tacoma, early flight. Um, so I went to repack my bag on Thursday night at about 10:30 p.m. and I put the kids to bed, my three kids, knowing I wasn't going to see them in the morning. They were going to still be asleep because it was an early flight. Um, didn't make it out of my daughter's room without like tears just coming down my face, because I knew I wasn't going to see them for at least a month. Just with their schedules, they're in camps and different things here at home, and it was going to be at least a month, probably closer to 5 or 6 weeks before I saw them in person again. And I put him to bed. It was emotional. I come out. I kind of went to start packing, and I could not have felt less motivated to pack a bag and leave at that moment. And so Dare and my wife, we started talking, and uh, a lot of tears were shed, mostly by me. I think all by me. but it was like a weird. Hadn't crossed my mind up to that point that I wasn't going to get on that flight. I kind of had in my mind, let's get to I had an August 15th opt out. So, a little less than a month from when I would have gone back.
Hmm.
So in my mind, I was like, let's get to that opt out, see how things are going, and go from there. And that was fully my intention until about, like I said, about 10:30, 11 o'clock on Thursday night. And there's some certain the last time I retired was probably the only other time I felt like that wave of emotion where it was like this is the right move. And it wasn't something I planned, it wasn't something I had been pouring over in my head. I thought, it's going to be tough to leave him after being home for a few days, but that was normal. It's always tough to leave when you're not going to see your kids for a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. But this was different. This was like 20 times that emotion. And ultimately, the best way I can put it, and this is how I described it when I wrote a little note to my teammates since I didn't report back, was that my kids need me at home more than I need baseball at this point. Doesn't mean I don't need baseball or don't want to be there. It just means I need to be a dad right now more than I need to be a pitcher.
Hmm.
And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. And, I think about 2 hours of conversation into the night, I still had not placed an item of clothing into my bag. It was like 1 a.m. at this point. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess this is happening. And so, made the decision there and canceled the flight. Made some phone calls the next morning, and you know, not without some difficult emotions, but yeah, I just knew it felt right.
It was so there's the definite or defining that you're retiring. I mean, I think in 2017, did you filed paperwork and did all that, right? I mean, how did going back to 2017, like how did that happen?
Well, I was throwing bullpens in Port St. Lucie, Florida, with the Mets on their backfields. I don't even think I was assigned to a team at that point. I know I wasn't assigned to a team. I was 2 months into throwing bullpens with the Mets, and I just hit a day where I was still very yipped up, and went to throw a bullpen, and I couldn't throw a strike, and I just remember flipping the ball to the coach that was behind me, and I said I was like 10 pitches in, and I was like flip the ball to him. I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. And in my mind, at that moment, I was like, I'm done for today, you know.
Mm.
And then I walked off and I went back to the clubhouse, and um it just hit me then I think on the drive home. I was like, no, I'm done. Like if I can't get through a bullpen, that was the first time I'd ever cut something short out of frustration. And I was like, okay, I if I can't get through a bullpen, then I ran out, I'm out of steam basically. So I just knew it was time. This time being very different. Instead of being exhausted and pushed out of the game, this time I know I could have kept going for sure. I'm getting pulled out of the game by something, that's more important, which is my family.
So when the first step of actually executing this retirement was not packing your bag, right? Not making, what time is your flight?
It was like a 7 a.m. flight.
Yeah, not getting in the car to go to that flight, not doing that, all of that. Did you even sleep that night?
I think I slept pretty well,
Okay.
actually. I didn't sleep very long because I still had to wake up pretty early, but I woke up and the kids thought I was going to be gone, so that was a cool moment for them to like see me and be like, "What are you still doing here?" Because we had said our goodbyes the night before,
Yeah.
and that was a good way to kick it off, just to see, especially I think my older two boys who really grasp, hey, he's leaving for a month, they know what that means.
Mhm.
For them to realize what it meant that I was staying home, I think that to see the look on their faces was it made me it just confirmed that it was the right
But
move.
I mean, they must have been like that. That's such a cool moment in a way.
It was. I mean, I just you know, I'm trying not to get emotional here, but it was a chance to not just have baseball kind of run out of steam or have a season run out and then say, oh, okay, I think we're done. It was like, no, this is a chance to like choose them over baseball,
Yeah.
and I don't think that maybe they'll never realize, what that meant to to me to do that. But I hope that maybe they do realize that, hey, Dad could have kept going, but he just really wanted to stay home with us. So
Listen, I mean, if nothing else, you will have this what we're doing now, you saying this.
I'm going to show this to them in
This
15
is
years when they're
no, I mean, I'm being all sincerity, right? We'll all have baseballs and boring tattoos, and we're all
right.
it'll be like if they say, "Oh my good, Dad, I can't believe that you were on that podcast today." But in all sincerity, you will have that because everything you just said. How can you not think that that's impactful and powerful, as a parent and also as a child? I'm being very like dramatic, but I'm being sincere. And then so then you go to you have that moment with the kids. You have breakfast with the kids. Dad, what are you doing? You're gonna miss your flight or whatever it is. You have breakfast
Yep.
with the kids. And so now it's kind of I did not expect this sort of timeline. I expect this sort of much gradual, like I was thinking about it for 2 weeks and but this
Nope.
is yeah.
It was I mean, obviously I went into this whole signing with the team this year knowing that it might not happen at all. There might be no one that wants to sign a 40-year-old coming off elbow surgery. So I realized that. But then when it did happen, it was like, okay, let's give it, a solid month or two and see where we're at. And if it results in getting back to the big leagues and that's the story, then great. If not, I went into it with the mentality of like, it may not happen. Like I may not get back to the big leagues, and that's okay. I'm doing this to, prove to myself that I did the rehab. I did the physical part to get back from a major surgery for myself, just to prove to myself I can do it. And then also I wanted to get out and compete on a mound and have fun again. And I did both those things. Like I said, the physical health maybe wasn't perfect, and but I think feeling comfortable, 23, I told you was not a lot of fun. Pitching was hard. It was really hard. And it continues to be hard, but I was out there competing, it was fun. Didn't feel yippy, which is always a plus, going through all that rehab and
Were you worried about that?
I'm always worried about that.
Yeah.
Not worried. I shouldn't say that. It's always in the back of your mind once you've been through it. And I've been through it numerous times. And fought it, in 23, pitched off. That might be my proud. I don't know if I've told you this, but like getting through a season in 23, basically having the yips, and it wasn't pretty. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't. I walked almost as many guys as innings pitched, but I got through it with like a 4.5 ERA with the yips and a half torn ligament in my elbow or tendon, sorry.
That's pretty good.
I think I might be more proud of that, getting through that and surviving that with like a decent ERA. And, I think I threw like 55 innings, getting through that. That was hard. That was way harder than the year before in 22 when I had probably the best statistical year of my career. So,
So when going back to the lead up, it's amazing though that you tell me if I'm wrong or right, but when you're in the middle of it as a baseball player, sometimes you don't understand how the other from the family stuff, how impactful it is, how meaningful it is, how much that's going to hit you because you're going along, you have this goal, and then you're across the country. It's like, okay, now this is great, Adair and kids. I'm coming back. It's going to be a nice little vacation. But when you're flying home, you're I, I mean, you like you said, you didn't have that thought, right? You didn't have the thought that you weren't going to have take advantage of the flight back.
No, I mean, I think we booked the flight back on either Monday or Tuesday. So like after I got home, just because I didn't know if I was going to go back on Thursday night or Friday morning, so I didn't book it yet. So yeah, I was fully planning on going back. I mean, I think even the conversations I had with, the friends we saw at home, they're like, "All right, so what does it mean now? You're on the IL." I'm like, "Yeah, I should be back in games next week," and then I got an opt out in, a month basically, and we'll see where we're at from there. So like that was the story I was telling people and myself too. Like that was what my intention was until Thursday night.
When so go flash forward to the um morning after you talk to the kids. Now you have to go through all the different things, right? You talked to Adair, you went to sleep, you didn't pack the bag, you saw the kids, but now you have to make the phone calls, right? What was that like?
So called my agent first, called Mike Milchin, who uh has taken a lot of surprising phone calls from me over the years. I don't think this one was that shocking to him. He didn't seem shocked. He said, I don't think he thought I'd maybe call at that moment, but we'd had enough conversations leading up to this whole season to know that like, who knows what's going to happen. But called him, told him to reach out to the Mariners and let them know what was going on, and everybody took it really well. That was another thing that was great about the Mariners. They seem very like family oriented, and we're super supportive of that. So then, yeah, I don't know. I think I reached out to maybe a couple teammates that I was kind of close with, and head trainer who had done a lot of rubbing on my arm over the past month, just to thank him for the time and effort. I felt like there's always that feeling of like, oh, these people that invested some time and efforts with me, I'm letting them down by not coming back. Just kind of had that feeling. So had to have those conversations, but it was good. Everybody understood. Some people were like, "Man, you looked good. I think you could have done it," and that's great to hear. It's nice to hear other people say that. We think you had more in the tank because like that's how I felt, and it's good. It took me a minute to wrap my head around that, but like I always thought my career would end um, by me literally not being able to find a job, my body completely failing me, or not being able to throw a strike. And it wasn't any of those things. I could still, it, the 7 years of me trying to pitch and not being able to in the middle of my career kind of programmed this thing into me where it's like, hey, if you can throw a baseball, you better go do it. You better go do it and make as much money and do it as long as you can and enjoy it for as long as you can. And so I had to fight that little uh idea in my head of like, nope, you still have the ability to go do it, but we're going to choose, something else. And that's okay.
How's this week felt? It's been a week.
Yeah, first couple days a little weird. It kind of feels like you lost an appendage for a minute, you know. Uh but no, it feels a little bit like early off season, you know. October, November,
Well, but
you know.
we talked about this though, the before. How old were you? So let's see, you just turned 40. Happy birthday. Uh,
Thank you.
so you were in your early 30s and you had a very young family and you made the decision to retire, but as we talked about before, it's like the uncertainty of that, there was life uncertainty, right? Of I don't know what I'm going to do, what's going on. You have a lot more options now. Your kids are older, all of this stuff. It's just a different place. So how is that different? How is that feeling different in terms of okay, what's next feeling?
It's a lot less stressful
Mm.
from supporting my family aspect, right? You know, last time I retired, we were comfortable. Like I definitely I decided I was going to take, a few months, 4 to 6 months to just relax and enjoy my very young kids at the time. And then try to figure out what was going to happen next after that, or kind of use that time to figure out. And this time around, like, look, you can ask Adair. She will not let me sit around for the next 25 years or whatever. I'll be doing something. I just don't know exactly what it is yet. Might be a lot of things. But I got plenty of hobbies too, so those will get a little more time. But yeah, I mean, I can already now I'm 4 days into this or 5 days into it, but I feel like I'm a little more patient with kids and things like that because I'm kind of able to view, all right, I chose to stay home and be a dad. And so like when I view that as my job, I have more patience. Whereas I think when it was part of my job and I had, 4 or 5 hours of workouts to do every day, and then I come home and I'm exhausted and the kids are doing their kid things. It was like you run out of patience a little quicker. And so now I'm like, nope, I you store up more of your patience for those things. So that's a good thing. So hopefully we can keep that going.
Oh man, it is. It is. It's like what a difference it is. Like I haven't retired yet, although I probably should have a long time ago. But must be a huge difference in retiring now compared to then. I mean, I just all the things that you said, it's just resonating to me about kids and also older kids, the kids and parenting never changes. It just evolves, which you've seen.
Yeah.
So and I would imagine that also being around these last few days, I don't know if you watch any baseball, but there probably hasn't been a lot of FOMO, like, oh my goodness, I wish I closed out the game for the Rainiers. That's
Yeah. I've checked a couple box scores just to check on some buddies. I have not watched a game yet. So I take that back. We watched the All-Star game. That was before I made this decision. So Um, I haven't turned it on yet. I haven't really had the urge. I almost have done it a couple times out of like habit because before I signed, I was watching baseball every night because it kind of kept me in that frame of mind of like, okay, we're getting ready to go pitch. Like I'm watching baseball and I'm watching it with a very like um, the way MLB players watch baseball. Like I'm watching how they're setting guys up and I'm trying to think along with the at bats because I know I'm going to be doing that in a week or two. So I was watching a lot of baseball, April and May when I was sitting at home, waiting to get a job. And now I'm sure I'll get back to it, but I'm taking a few days to just disconnect from it a little bit.
but you don't have to. Like that's the thing. There's probably in even last year when I saw you when you were on home injured, you were still watching Rockies games because you were a good teammate and that was part of the deal. Same thing here. Like you don't have to. You can do anything you want. Congratulations. Anything you
Thank you.
want.
Thank you.
But by the way, you could legitimately be like, I don't know if there's a profession where you cook chicken wings in a big green egg, but you could legitimately go pro in that. You're very good.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah,
do take some pride in my smoked chicken wings. I don't know if I want to ruin a good thing though by making it a job.
that's true. That's
That's what I've heard, it's like because I love like fly fishing, I love hunting, I love cooking chicken wings on my grill. But no, I've heard like don't ruin your hobbies by trying to make them a job. Um, I don't know. I kind of go both ways on that though. If you can do it the right way, I
See,
think it could be a good
I'm,
thing. But
I'm,
we'll
I'm,
see.
I'm planting all this stuff in your head. Um,
Yeah.
well, again, I'll come back to what I said before, which was I hope that you got a chance to soak in how many people's lives you impacted how much joy you brought to people. And this is the amazing thing is, I looked at, your Red Sox tenure was whatever, 16 years ago, like at the when it started. And I can tell you that people on social media were pulling up, doing montages and pulling up clips and just this wave of that's just the Red Sox. That's the one thing. That was one thing. And that was so cool. And by the way, oh my, and all I'm thinking is how everyone freaked out every time I saw one of those clips and everyone freaked out as he threw 99 and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't know if you went back if you got a chance to see any of these things
I've
because
not seen any montages. No, that would
oh, all
you
right.
might have to send me that
I'll send
if
you the
they're good.
montage.
If they're good. But no, the outpouring of positivity. I think when I was still playing, anytime there was an announcement that had to do with me assigning whatever, I was pretty cautious to read the comments, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Um, just because I know myself and I get too you get too wrapped up in it. You get wrapped up in the positive and the negative, right? What I realized is even if it's all positive, you start to use that to feed your identity of yourself, right? You need other people to say good things to feel good about yourself. So I try to just stay away from the comments always because I felt like as a pitcher, someone who got to go out and perform, you want your identity to come from within, right? Not from the hundreds of keyboard warriors out there, saying good or negative things. So, but now I'm retired. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna read them. Why not? And
Oh,
it was overwhelmingly positive. There's a
yeah, there's
couple.
no negatives. But you're
No,
right
there's a
though.
couple comments about don't go to Venezuela, don't retire to Venezuela, and I was like, that's funny. That's good. Um, so I can laugh at that now. It's all good. So, it was a lot of positivity, like you said, and you know, I'm appreciative of everybody who reached out.
But you're right. You're so right. I may have said this to you before. I heard this on a podcast. I think it was Conan O'Brien said the insults or the negativities are like steaks and the compliments are like Tic Tacs. You know. And
Yeah,
so but all you got was a bunch. You got a world record amount of Tic Tacs. So congratulations. By the
I'll
way,
take it.
it was. I think it was like almost exactly a year ago that we had dinner in Colorado when I
Hmm.
had when I maybe had the most ill-advised execution of medical advice in the history of mankind, which was
Was this when you took the spill
yeah,
on
when I
the
fell on my
on the
face
scooter?
on a scooter and proceeded to the obvious treatment for possible concussion and falling on your face in a scooter is drinking beers and then taking a red eye flight.
Here you are. You're proof that it works.
It worked. What a difference a year makes.
Yeah, man.
Um, but hey, listen, again, I can't say enough nice things, but we'll say even more nice things going forward. The nice things don't stop. But I appreciate you sharing that story. That's
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me on here. It's good to have a place to put these things out there, Just I don't know if it's important or if anybody cares, but yeah, just to know that it was a spur of the moment decision, but it wasn't without, uh a lot of deep emotion and things that led to it. So yeah, I'm just really thankful for the opportunity I had to pitch one more time and like I don't think it's all set in yet, but um right now I'm just feeling good about it and trying to enjoy life at home.
well, like I said, what you said on this podcast, I can guarantee you like will help people offer perspective. So once again, you continue to change people's lives by changing your own. So there you go.
I'm just living, man. But
All
thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it.
right.